Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel, where we bring you the Word of God. Today, we will be telling you the story of Samson, the biblical hero of strength. So, let's dive in. But before we begin, please subscribe for more videos like this. And don't forget to like and share. Your support helps us reach more people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. In the Old Testament, there are many heroes of faith whose stories inspire us to trust in God and live lives of holiness. One such hero is Samson, whose story is recorded in the book of Judges, chapters 12 through 16. Samson was a judge and a warrior who lived in Israel during the time when it was under the oppression of the Philistines. Despite his flaws, Samson was a man after God's own heart who accomplished great things through his faith in the Lord. Let's take a look at the lessons we can learn from his life. Before we start the story of Samson, let us first know about the Philistines. The Philistines were an ancient people who lived in the coastal region of the Mediterranean Sea, and they were known for their skill in metalworking and their hostility towards the Israelites. At the time of Samson, they had become a powerful force in the region, and they oppressed the Israelites for several years. Now let's get into the story of Samson. Samson was born to a woman named Manoah, who was from the tribe of Dan. According to the account in Judges chapter 13, the angel of the Lord appeared to her and told her that she would conceive and give birth to a son who would be a Nazarite set apart for God, and who would deliver Israel from the Philistines. The angel warned her not to cut the boy's hair or drink wine or liquor, as this would make the Nazarite's special status ineffective. So, when Samson was born, his mother took him to the nearest shrine to dedicate him to God, and the Nazarites vowed never to cut their hair as a sign of their dedication. As Samson grew up, he became a judge over Israel, which meant that he was a leader and deliverer who was called by God to help the Israelites in times of need. However, unlike many other judges who led Israel to righteousness, Samson was a flawed man with weaknesses and faults. In Judges chapter 14, it tells us that one day Samson went to Timnath, where he saw a beautiful woman named Delilah, who was a Philistine. Samson was immediately attracted to her, but his love for her would eventually lead to his downfall. Despite his strengths and accomplishments, Samson was not perfect. He had a weakness for women, and this weakness would often lead him into trouble. When Samson fell in love with Delilah, he did not tell his close friend Micah, who was a Levite and the son of a priest. This was probably because Samson was ashamed of his attraction to a Philistine woman and did not want to appear weak in front of his friend. But keeping secrets and hiding things from friends and loved ones is never a good idea. Samson should have confided in Micah or another trusted person about his feelings for Delilah. But instead, he kept it a secret, which only made things worse when Delilah revealed Samson's secret to the Philistines. Samson was strong enough to kill a lion with his bare hands and to defeat 1,000 Philistines with a donkey's jawbone. He could also do extraordinary things like stopping the flow of a river to get water to his enemies. But what made him so strong? It was not just his physical strength, but also his connection to God. The secret source of Samson's power came from a special blessing from God. This blessing gave him superhuman strength, which he used to accomplish amazing feats and protect the Israelites from their enemies, the Philistines. But this blessing was not without its conditions. Samson had to follow certain rules, such as not cutting his hair, to maintain his special status as a Nazarite. When he broke these rules, his strength would diminish, and he would become vulnerable. When Samson fell in love with Delilah, a Philistine woman, he was putting himself in danger because he was breaking the rules given to him by God. The Philistine rulers knew this, and they offered him a deal. They promised him riches and power if he would tell them the secret of his strength. Samson refused at first, but after being tortured and pressured by Delilah and the Philistines, he finally revealed his secret. As soon as he did this, his strength left him, and he became just an ordinary man. The Philistines then captured him and gouged out his eyes. They also forced him to grind grain in a mill as a slave. Despite all this, Samson never lost hope. After being in prison for 2 years, he was called upon to pray one last time. As he prayed, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him again, and he performed his greatest feat. During a festival celebrating the god Dagon, the Philistines gathered in large numbers in the temple to worship their false god. Samson pushed against the 2 middle pillars that held up the temple and brought it crashing down. This killed him along with many Philistines. Although he died, he took many of his enemies with him. His body was found lying between the fallen pillars, and the Israelites gathered there to mourn his death. So, why did Samson break the Nazirite rules? Samson broke the rules for 2 main reasons. First, he wanted to please himself and enjoy the pleasures of sin. Second, he lacked spiritual wisdom and discernment. Samson should have known better than to trust Delilah, a Philistine woman, with his secret. He was also aware that the Nazirite rules forbade him from having sexual relations with women who were not consecrated to God. However, he chose to ignore these rules, and the consequences were dire. What can we learn from Samson? Samson's story teaches us many important lessons about faith and obedience. Even though he was a man of faith who performed amazing miracles, he also struggled with temptation and disobedience. Here are some key takeaways from his story. 1. Be careful who you trust. Samson trusted the wrong woman with his life's calling. Don't trust those who tempt you away from God. 2. Resist temptation. Samson gave in to his desires and broke the Nazirite rules. Resist temptation and don't give in to your fleshly desires. 3. Obey God's laws. Samson broke the law by revealing his secret to a woman. Obey God's laws and don't be disobedient like Samson. 4. Don't be proud. Samson was prideful and boastful, and it led to his downfall. Don't be prideful like Samson, but humble yourself before God. 5. Learn from your mistakes. Samson made mistakes, but he didn't learn from them. Learn from your mistakes and don't repeat them. How should Christians view Samson? Samson is considered a hero of faith in the Christian faith, despite his flaws. He was a man who was chosen by God to deliver his people from their oppressors, and he accomplished many amazing feats through his faith in the Lord. However, it is important to remember that he was also a man who struggled with temptation and disobeyed God's commands. His story teaches us that even the greatest heroes of faith are still human and prone to making mistakes. We should admire his bravery and strength, but we should also learn from his weaknesses and failures. The story of Samson is a reminder that God can use anyone to accomplish his purposes, but it also shows that we must remain faithful to his commands and not give in to temptation. Despite his flaws, Samson is remembered as a great hero of Israel, and his story continues to inspire people today. What are your thoughts on the story of Samson? What lessons have you learned from his life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to like and share. Your support helps us reach more people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. See you next time.